Greetings. On behalf of the entire Questrom community, I would like to welcome you to this, the 108th Convocation ceremony of the Questrom School of Business in the 182nd year of Boston University. Today is a very special day in the lives of all of our graduating students. This day marks the end of your formal studies here at Questrom and the transition to the next phase of your lives. It is undeniable that over the past several years, the entire world has faced significant challenges. From a shifting geopolitical climate to a global pandemic that brought loss of lives and the biggest economic collapse since the Great Recession. Here in the United States, we have been thrust into a period of awakening to the long history of systemic racism that still remains today toward our Black citizens, as well as harassment and acts of violence toward our Asian communities. Unfortunately, it has taken the loss of too many lives for us to finally face the harsh reality that the path to equality is still unpaved and continues to fade into the horizon. 58 years ago, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment." Sadly, this statement remains relevant today. You are entering a world that eagerly awaits you. Frankly, because we need you. Your cohort is poised to make real and lasting economic and societal change as you go forward to create value for the world. For the first time in recent history, this convocation ceremony will honor the graduates from all of our graduate programs. Together, while difficult to visualize, we are celebrating over 1,000 new graduates from the Questrom School of Business. Each of you now joins the ranks of over 50,000 proud Questrom alumni and over 330,000 proud BU alumni around the globe. Congratulations, class of 2021. I would like to welcome Marcel Rindisbacher, Senior Associate Dean for Faculty and Research and Professor of Finance, to introduce this year's Faculty Convocation speaker.
Thank you, Dean Fournier. On behalf of the faculty of the Questrom School of Business, let me extend my heartfelt congratulations to the class of 2021. I know I speak for all my faculty colleagues when I say that we are incredibly proud to have met each and every one of you and to have had the opportunity to share our knowledge with you. But also thank you for teaching us as well, and always helping us strive to be our best in and out the classroom. Today, I have the honor of introducing this year's faculty convocation speaker. When we were deciding who to approach to speak at this year's convocation, we wanted to invite someone who most, if not all of our graduates would know, or at least heard of from a peer. We also knew that given the circumstances that we find ourselves in today, we needed someone who could authentically deliver a powerful message of encouragement, praise, celebration, and inspiration. To many of us, this sounds like a job for only a superhero. For us, the answer was easy and unanimous: Hutch. Dr. Paul Hutchinson is Senior Lecturer in the Management and Organizations Department. Hutch is now teaching organizational behavior or teaming in each one of our programs at Questrom. When project teams are struggling, they turn to Hutch. When students need a little guidance on their path, they turn to Hutch. So, when we needed to find the perfect person to deliver greetings from the faculty, we too turned to Hutch. Please join me in welcoming Professor Paul Hutchinson to offer remarks from the faculty.
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever in the world you are watching this. I hope that today and that this moment is good. I bring you all a warm welcome and hearty congratulations on behalf of the faculty of the Questrom School of Business. I'm Dr. Hutchinson, and among other things, I teach teaming in both the undergraduate and graduate programs. Now, you graduates know well what teaming is, because I'm sure a number of you would say you've been teamed to death by now. But for the sake of the parents, family members, and honored guests in the audience, I usually say that teaming is teaching business people how to play well with others. Now at Questrom, I'm generally known as being a rather enthusiastic and energetic cheerleader, the kind of guy you roll out to get everyone jazzed up about being at BU. Woohoo! Go Terriers! And I think I've worked with almost everyone graduating today. Now most likely it was during launch or orientation, your first days as a BU student. So I feel particularly honored to be with you here on your last day as a BU student, although we are Terriers for life. When I first met the undergrads graduating today and your parents, I was dressed just like I am today, but on stage in Agganis Arena on the morning of your first day of orientation. I got to be the first professor you met, and although I'm sure you won't remember anything I said, you might remember the BU band playing the Harry Potter theme while I talked. I tried to get them for this too, but they were busy. On that morning, Dean Elmore, Catherine Kennedy, and I introduced you to the message of Howard Thurman and the importance of the search for common ground in your education. 4 years later, I hope that message continues to guide you as you build relationships and serve your communities beyond Comm Ave. I'm thankful to have worked with most of our master's degree students during your launch programs, when you were all so bright-eyed and excited. I often wonder when grad students are most nervous, at the beginning or at the end of their program. Who am I kidding? It's during the internship search. Now, doctoral students, you all are the one group that I didn't get the chance to work with. But I, too, earned my PhD from this fine institution. And so at least we have our attire in common. And I'll be honest, I think the best reason to get a PhD from BU is this outfit. It's actually the only time that Dean Brunel approves of my fashion sense. And he's not wrong. But I can honestly say that I feel the legacy of those who have gone before us every time I put this regalia on. And you will too. Our responsibility is to seek knowledge, but to also find the courage to follow that path wherever it leads, just as those other brave souls who also wore these robes, like Martin Luther King, Anna Howard Shaw, and generations of our fellow alumni. Graduation talks often recall fond memories, warm friendships, and all the wonderful times we had during the past months or years together. And we've had those moments. But 2020 has been very different from what any of us could have imagined. I don't want to trivialize that experience. I don't want to make it small or ignore the reality of the pain or the struggle that we have all faced together. What I want to do is honor you for the way that you did it. Throughout the spring, summer, and fall of 2020, Many of us on the staff and faculty were meeting daily to redesign the entire Questrom world and adapt ourselves to a learn-from-anywhere reality. I've often compared this endeavor to a whole university of first-year teachers without mentors to turn to for advice from the past. None of us knew. What we were working toward had never been done before. But we shared, we reached out, traded notes and ideas. We were isolated, but have never worked more as a team. And for that, I am so very thankful. And I do want to pause and thank the staff and the faculty of Questrom. These may have been our finest hours as a school. I personally am honored and humbled to be among you. But throughout last summer, one nagging concern never left my mind, that it didn't matter what we did or how much we prepared. What mattered is what you, the students, did. Protocols don't matter if people don't follow them. Data-driven decisions are irrelevant if people ignore them. And protecting others is impossible if we only think of ourselves. And I was pretty sure that if we were going to make it through the year without shutting down or going fully remote, it was not going to be based on anything that we did as faculty. It would be entirely based on what you did as students. And when I first learned of the student-organized public health campaign called F It Won't Cut It, I was like, wow, I think we got a shot. I've been at BU for 16 years and worked with tens of thousands of terriers in that time. BU students are always impressive, but you all are miraculous. We made it. We are here today because, to quote the motto of Outward Bound, you chose to serve, to strive, and not to yield. And Outward Bound is what brings us to my closing thoughts. We start our residential MBA programs with an Outward Bound course on Thompson Island in Boston Harbor. And we do this because we believe it creates the foundation that students need to face the challenges ahead. The ability to use teamwork and collaboration to face and overcome adversity. That's what Outward Bound was designed for. And those lessons are instructive for all of us on this graduation day. As a teacher and an aspiring good human being, I regularly turn to Kurt Hahn, the founder of Outward Bound. There are two quotes of his that have given me strength and comfort in the past, and I feel they are of great relevance to this auspicious occasion. The first is that there is more in you than you think. And if you can be made to see it, then perhaps for the rest of your lives, you won't settle for less. This past year has certainly shown us the truth that we are more than we might have thought. I hope in the coming years we don't settle to be less than what we now know we are capable of. And the other quote is that there are 3 ways to win the young. You can preach at them, and that's the hook without the worm. You can say you must volunteer, and that is of the devil. Or you can tell them that they are needed, and that appeal hardly ever fails. And so, class of 2021, terriers, friends, colleagues, you are needed. To rebuild companies and organizations shattered by pandemic and economic crisis, you are needed. To restore faith in our communities, our leadership, and each other, you are needed. To help those whose lived experiences are drastically different find their common ground, you are needed. To fight racism, sexism, ageism, ableism, and every ism that serves as a wedge to divide us from each other and the promise of opportunity, you are needed. To make difficult, data-driven decisions and to have the courage to stick to them, you are needed. To be Little League coaches, scout leaders, soup kitchen volunteers, school board members, and the kinds of citizens around the world that step up and use the skills you learned here at Questrom to truly create value in your communities, you are needed. For your parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, those who held you when you were only days old and saw in you the hope for a brighter future, one that today, on your graduation day, you have shown to be possible. To prove to them that their sacrifice and efforts were worth it, you are needed. To serve each other, to be there for each other when you stumble or start to fall, to speak up when you see others make mistakes, and to listen when others help you become better versions of yourselves. You are needed. And on this day, your graduation day, when your time as a Boston University student comes to an end and you go out into the world, you are not only needed, but you are ready. Now go be you.
Thank you, Hutch, for those wonderful words of inspiration and reflection. I know I speak for all of us when I say that we all needed a dose of Hutch. I now want to welcome Frederic Brunel, Associate Dean of Undergraduate Programs and Associate Professor of Marketing, to introduce our undergraduate student speaker.
Thank you, Dean Fournier. On behalf of the entire undergraduate faculty and staff, I want to extend my congratulations to all of our 2021 Questrom graduates, and especially the students graduating from our undergraduate program. Who would have thought, when you started 4 years ago, that we would be sending you off in this way? The room may be largely empty, except for the few of us, a bunch of lights, cameras, masks. However, it is also full of the pride and the joy of seeing all of you through the finish line. Yes, your junior and senior years were disrupted and strange, but you have adapted and you pushed your boundaries. Yes, your mental and physical well-beings have been tested, but you have leaned on each other and showed us the true meaning of the word community. Yes, you collectively filled about 300,000 daily attestation, and your noses were swabbed so many times we have lost count. But also, you proved all the naysayers wrong. You rose up to the challenge, and your action and mutual care kept this community as safe and healthy as we could have ever hoped for. Yes, the pandemic had a huge impact on your BU journey, but you are not defined by it. It will be the yet-to-be-realized hopes and dream that will define the class of 2021. And we cannot wait to see what you will accomplish. My ultimate wishes for all of you are that you go and create value for the world, that you be great ambassadors for Questrom and BU, and that you come back and help those that will follow you. Again, congratulations, class of 2021. It is now my pleasure to introduce our undergraduate student speaker. Kalkidan Tewodros graduates with a degree from Questrom with concentration in strategy and information system. She's an Ethiopian-born, Southern California raised, first-generation college student, attending Boston University as a Richard D. Cohen Scholar. Kalkidan has held several leadership roles, both inside and outside of Questrom. She serves as the Student Program Coordinator for the Questrom Ascent Fellowship, a Questrom Dean's Host and E-Host, a work study student in the Undergraduate Development Center, a teaching assistant, and she's on the executive board of the Black Business Students Associations. She's also a proud member of the Iota chapter of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. I'm told she also sleeps from time to time. As a result of her involvement and academic achievements, Kalkidan is also an inductee for the Scarlet Key Honor Society class of 2021. It is my immense pleasure now to introduce all of you to our undergraduate student speaker, Kalkidan Tewodros.
Thank you, Dean Brunel, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, salam, ጤና ይስጥልኝ, good afternoon. Welcome to all deans, faculty and staff, distinguished guests, families and friends, and most importantly, my classmates. It is an honor to be here standing before you all as the Convocation speaker for Boston University's Questrom School of Business, class of 2021. Let's give ourselves a round of applause for being here today. Thank you. Honestly, I never thought this day would come. When I left my childhood home in the fall of 2017, a week early for FISOP, much to my parents' dismay, I never could have predicted the way these next 4 years would play out. Sure, I had some semblance of an idea. I would arrive on campus, pick courses, hopefully not hate my roommate, excel academically, branch out socially, study abroad, maybe fall in love, discover my purpose, and leave my mark at BU. And while some of these goals and guesses came to fruition, at times many others fell short, and I personally didn't take too kindly to that. After all, I am and always have been a planner. I pulled up to orientation with my 4-year course plan of a double major and minor mapped out, sat in front of poor Robin Johnson, my academic advisor, and told her to make it happen for me. Now, she's a real one for not telling me then and there that I was absolutely insane, but I soon enough figured it out for myself. And this was the first of many lessons that I learned in my time at Boston University. Adjusting to the unexpected, remaining steadfast in the face of uncertainty, recognizing and having faith that what is for you will not pass you, being flexible and having grace under fire. And we as a class have also embarked on a beautifully unexpected journey together. In the past 4 years, we've conquered snowstorms, devastating Patriots losses, even more devastating finance exam curves. We've celebrated the victories of our athlete peers, case competition successes, and entrepreneurial classmates. And with each new challenge, we learned to be fearless in the pursuit of our passions, remained open-minded to new cultures and diverse perspectives that our school and the city of Boston had to offer, and pushed ourselves to not just be students in the classroom, but students of life. But even then, just when we thought we were in the clear, that unforgettable day, March 13th, 2020, hit and changed the course of our junior and senior years. Never did we ever think that any challenge could be greater than passing the OM 323 midterm that semester. But soon, after getting ripped away from the throes of spring breaks and study abroads, we found ourselves somewhere far worse than Mugar's basement, our childhood bedrooms. And for the remainder of the semester and year, while toggling Zoom screens and practicing TikTok dances that some of us are still ashamed to own up to, we witnessed a once-in-a-century global pandemic, an unfathomable tragedy, devastating lives and economies. And while COVID-19 became the story of the year, it was far from the only story. Economic inequality became even starker, climate change hit record-breaking scales across the world, and US protests over police brutality sparked a global conversation about racial injustice. Now, why reference these things in a graduation speech? Today is meant to be a day of celebration. Well, my fellow graduates, while we deserve nothing more than to revel in the glory of all of our accomplishments, it is our duty as future business and world leaders to examine current events and consider with great foresight how real change is required in the way we lead. I am reminded of my first day in SM 131 when Professor Stolo made the B3 section recite the 4 lines hanging in every classroom in the Hariri building. We believe in truth, the only foundation of success. In service, the motive of business. In the golden rule, the unchanging standard of conduct. In the consciousness of service performed, the sufficient reward of endeavor. Our time at Boston University and in Questrom has afforded us every opportunity to develop into innovative and ethical leaders who understand the impact of business on society and create value for the world. So as we excitedly prepare for this next phase in our lives, we would be remiss to not consider the part that we will undoubtedly play in history to come. Standing before you all today, I look to my left and my right, and I see tomorrow's CEOs, Fortune 500 leaders, city officials, lawyers, educators, and so much more, because our individual and collective potential is truly infinite. And with that comes the ultimate recognition that every one of us has the responsibility that we carry ourselves with the values espoused to us throughout our time at Boston University. And everything we need, we learned in the hallowed Hariri halls or on the streets of the Com Ave concrete jungle. Yes, excelling in our courses gave us the skills to pay the bills, as Professor Allen will proudly remind anyone. Y'all know that Questrom students are extremely employable, especially IS concentrators. But arguably, the most important skills we've learned in our time here is how to be responsible global citizens. And this begins by caring for our community. I know that I would not be here today without my village. The love of my parents who bravely immigrated to a foreign country with 3 small children and no familial support, yet sacrificed everything so I could have and be anything I put my mind to. The prayers of my church community protecting me each day, the unconditional support of the friends who have become brothers and sisters to me, not by blood, but through the devotion they've shown to my well-being. And when I moved across the country to a state that says rum instead of room and doesn't put chains on their tires in snowstorms, or for some reason experiences all 4 seasons at extreme intensity, I was welcomed in by another community, the BU community. From the offset, we learned about Howard Thurman's philosophy of common ground, and were encouraged to have real conversations, share our experiences, and come together to solve problems. And come together we did. huddled in booths at Questrom Starbucks, cramming in last-minute formulas before an exam, trading music recommendations in the back corner of the HTC, or pedaling blue bikes down the Charles River Esplanade. Through thick and thin, you could feel the presence of the people you valued most. In the face of adversity, my circles rallied to support me in every capacity. When I struggled in coursework, my professors and advisors made the time to ensure that I had the tools to succeed. When I felt unheard and undervalued as one of a handful of Black women in this program, folks in the Center for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and my Ascend community validated my experience and worked to change the culture for the better. And when I succeeded, I could expect an email from Dean Reiser congratulating me for a job well done, or for my peers to pat my back up and down the hallway. I would not be who I am today without the challenges I underwent throughout my time in Questrom. And boy, were there a lot. But what I learned from those experiences was that no one could do it on their own. Every one of us is a product of the love and guidance poured into us by our families, our friends, and our support systems. And we are here today, standing on the shoulders of giants, and we must uplift others on our rise to becoming giants ourselves. This is what it means to pay it forward. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And we sit here today celebrating the ironclad strength of our bond as graduates of the Questrom School of Business. And if that isn't enough to inspire you to go out and be great, I'll leave you all with this. Follow your passions, stay true to yourselves, and remember, if you can secure this Questrom degree, then you can secure any bag. Congratulations, class of 2021. We did it.
Thank you, Dean Brunel, for your remarks. And thank you, Kalkidan, for sharing your memories and words of congratulations to the class of 2021. I would now like to welcome Barbara Bickert, Senior Associate Dean of Graduate Programs and Associate Professor of Marketing, to introduce our graduate student speaker.
Thank you, Dean Fournier. On behalf of the graduate faculty, executive directors, faculty directors, and staff, congratulations to the class of 2021. I know I speak for all of them when I say that we truly wish we could have been here together today to shake your hands as you cross the stage, meet family members and friends, and share in the joy that you now feel in knowing that you have completed your degree. We celebrate the graduates of the PhD, Executive MBA, Full-Time MBA, MBA plus MSDT, Professional Evening MBA, Master of Science in Management Studies, Master of Science in Business Analytics, and Master of Science in Math Finance programs. We are in awe of all of you. Many of you have juggled work, family, and school, never mind all of the other competing pressures of a graduate student's time. Some of you have even had to deal with unfortunate consequences of the pandemic, including the loss of loved ones and jobs. Through it all, you persevered. Take that strength you've built, the knowledge you've gained, and do great things with the doors that will now be open to you with your degree. We truly hope that you will come back and see us. We always enjoy seeing our alums, and we would hope that you would stop by just to say hello or to engage with our current students. While some of you have not had the chance to visit us at 595 Com Ave, know that you are always welcome and you always have a home in Boston. Again, congratulations, class of 2021. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to our graduate student speaker, Kajal Kotwani. Kajal Kotwani graduates today from Questrom with an MBA with a concentration in strategy. Originally from New Delhi, India, she holds an undergraduate degree in electronic engineering from the University of Manchester in the United Kingdom. Prior to coming to Questrom, she worked at EY in their risk advisory department and also started her own educational toys startup. While at Questrom, Kajal served as a member of the Graduate Student Council. She also acted as a mentor to undergraduate students studying business and served as a first-year MBA cohort representative. Kajal's time in Questrom also allowed her to work as a student consultant at Learning Seeds. Kajal stands before you and her fellow classmates today as a true representative of what it means to be a Questrom student. Please join me in welcoming Kajal Katwani.
Thank you, Dean Bickart. Good afternoon, everyone, and congratulations. We have made it to this day that I am sure none of us will forget throughout our lives. I wish we could have had the beaming faces of friends and family celebrating with us on this joyous occasion. But nonetheless, here we are, this huge family that is gathered here to celebrate not just our own victories, but the victories of our peers. All of us sitting here have faced our own challenges to reach this milestone, and we should all take this moment to be really proud of our achievements. As humans, we have the tendency to start worrying about the next thing. But today, let us take this opportunity to bask in the glory of this momentous achievement. Before coming to Questrom, my idea of a business school was very different. I imagined a competitive, cutthroat world where all anyone cared about was making it big for themselves. But Questrom has proved itself to be the most collaborative and conscientious community that I have come across. Every single person I have met here is helpful, inspiring, motivating, and cares about the society as a whole. I admire that Questrom has such a dynamic social impact program and that sustainability and ethics are an integral part of each course discussion here. I want to take this moment to thank the deans, faculty, staff, and my peers for making this experience so wholesome. And as Joey would say, all about giving and receiving and having and sharing. Sorry, I've been watching a little too much Friends in my free time. Just over a year ago, none of us were aware the world as we knew it was about to transform. And while we must pause to remember and mourn for those who have lost their lives to the pandemic, and hope that those who are left behind get the strength to deal with their loss, we must not forget to acknowledge the beauty with which the entire world has united to fight against the virus. We must appreciate the healthcare workers toiling on the front line, the scientists working on the vaccine, and the teachers who quickly transitioned to a new format to make sure our learning doesn't suffer. We must also appreciate each one of us for playing our part, wearing masks, getting tested regularly, and caring for those around us. The past couple of years, we also saw humans fight modern-day wars. Wars against a virus, but also wars against racism, wars against discrimination, and wars for diversity and inclusion. I come from a land of diverse religions, castes, languages. I have seen the long-lasting impact of communal fights and the uncountable lives it has taken. I've seen how casteism can prevent dreams of a bright future. I've seen women fight for the right to live. But most of all, I've seen how harmony can still exist in diversity. I've seen Muslims setting up langar, a traditional community kitchen for protesting Sikh farmers. I've seen a Hindu shrine serving iftar to quarantined Muslims during the holy month of Ramadan. And I have seen the Sikh community sanitizing a mosque ahead of Eid. It is easy to find differences, but if we look in the right place, it is easier to find the similarities. I feel immensely proud to be part of an institution that hasn't been afraid to take a stand and carry on with the legacy of its most renowned scholar, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Be it hiring an associate provost for diversity and inclusion, broadcasting messages to show solidarity and support, or establishing the Howard Thurman Center, a common ground where students are united in their desire to learn about themselves and one another. Like Dr. King said, we must learn to live together as brothers, and may I add sisters, or perish together as fools. What I see here today is not just a group of business school graduates, but a diversity of gender, race, and religion, with a million reasons to be divided, but still united because we understand and that victory lies in unity. We are all here with our own dreams for the future, and I hope each one of us can go out there and fulfill every dream in this room together. Good luck to my fellow graduate students. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Bickert, for your remarks, and thank you, Kajal, for your wonderful words of inspiration on this special day. Each year, during our convocation ceremony, we recognize those students, faculty, and staff that have received special honors. At the time of this filming, we do not have all of the votes completed or grades submitted to announce those awards here. Our honorees were celebrated in program-specific events, and a separate celebratory announcement will be released shortly. Congratulations to all of our honorees. History is filled with stories of great leaders who forged their paths on the heels of great personal, professional, and societal challenges. Take all that you have learned from the obstacles you have faced these past months to define the future that we all want and deserve, and boldly go into the world and do great things. This time of seclusion has given us all a time for reflection and to regain focus. Many things are much clearer now, like just how important the little things are that we often take for granted in our daily lives, from sharing a meal together, to making music together, or just sitting around and talking among friends. For me, what has become even more clear during this time is just how important you all are in transforming our brick and mortar school into a home. You are Questrom. Class of 2021, we are very proud of your accomplishments and very excited about what you will accomplish in the world in the future. It has been our privilege to help further your aspirations during this significant moment in your lives. Education never ends. It is a lifetime pursuit, and we expect the Questrom School of Business will continue to contribute to your lifelong learning in the years ahead. We look forward to your continued involvement in the life of the school as you join the ranks of the graduates that have preceded you. we offer a very special thank you to all of the family members and friends who are with us today. Graduates, please make sure to express thanks to the sources of tremendous support outside the classroom during the journey to your undergraduate, master's, and doctoral degrees. I want to conclude by expressing my own personal gratitude. On behalf of the faculty and staff at Boston University Questrom School of Business, thank you to you, our graduates, for being exceptional members of the BU Questrom community. We have enjoyed each of your days at Questrom and are a stronger school and community because of you. Congratulations again to the class of 2021, and remember, we are Questrom. I would now like to ask the party to rise and celebrate the class of 2021.